Hello. Get ready for a great show.
Black space is a place for us.
Real people with real issues.
Discussing real topics.
Black space.
A safe space for our community.
Hello. I'm George Middleton, your host this evening on this podcast episode of Black Space Live. Our topic of discussion is part 3 of Women Make Rules for Betas, but break rules for alphas. However, before we get into this line of discussion, I would like to take this time briefly to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. In other words, say it with me, don't be selfish with this content. Share the love. You can catch Black Space Live on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and Spotify. And you can catch us on Anchor FM, Podcast Addict, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. So let's begin by introducing our lively panelists for today. A group of educated, intellectual, and most importantly, entertaining group that are sure to make this discussion tonight very engaging. So beginning with Mr. Ira Curry, take a minute and tell the watchers and listeners anything that you would like them to know about you.
All right, I think my camera is blocked, but yeah, I'm Ira, coach, consultant, business producer, artist. I'm currently in LA, and I'm super excited to be here today. So let's get it.
Let's get it. Welcome, Ira.
Thank you.
China.
Hi guys, I am China, originally from Mississippi, living in Dallas. I am an accountant, and I am just ready to dig in with you guys.
Okay, all right, she's ready. Welcome, China. Zuri.
Hello, excuse me. Hello, everybody. My name is Zuri. I'm originally from California, but I live in Georgia, and I'm a mentor and I do many things, but I'm a disabled veteran. So like I said, I'm just excited to dig in. I've been waiting for something like this. I'm glad that I can be on the show.
Well, first, thank you for your service and welcome, Zuri. You honor us with your presence.
Thank you.
And the latest, but not the least, Mr. Penny.
Lamar Finley, affectionately known as Penny. I'm a pilot here in the beautiful, beautiful state of Florida, and also regular. I'm no stranger to this black space.
Not at all.
Not at all. And the boy ain't scared. He ain't scared of nothing.
What Bernie Mac say? I ain't scared of you, mother.
I ain't scared of you. Hey, so, I went and reviewed part 1 and part 2. And, part 1, we kind of played around the edges, the peripheral of the periphery of this concept of the alpha male. Part 2, we kind of made it a little more relevant to our community as regarding what kind of male does our community need. And as I was listening, and when I say what kind of male does our community need, meaning that in terms of the racially demographic Black community, there's a need there. We need male energy. And so the question was, is the alpha male the type of male energy we need to begin to put together our systemic solutions as it pertains to our community? Not that we're trying to exclude others, because we love everybody. But in terms of triage, our community is most in need. So that was an interesting discussion. And as I was listening and reviewing, it occurred to me that we were all possibly speaking from different perceptions of what a alpha male is. And so what I like to do first to set the baseline is go around the table and ask everybody to give their examples by either known personalities or people in their lives that best, in your opinion, describe the alpha male. And let's begin with Ira.
Yeah, I think with me, I think one of the people that I would refer to in my own family is who I used to be. So when I was a CEO, I had to play the alpha male. And when we think of an alpha male, we think of someone who's confident. We think of a leader. We think of someone who is, they're influential, right? Like they're charismatic. They can move in and out of character. They're good with crowds. They can lead a pack, right? And so for me, I think the CEO role, it describes it best. Those are my thoughts.
So see a person in a role of a CEO, you automatically assert with a alpha male type.
Yeah, I think I really think I think it's going to be tough to have any other character in that role. I mean, you have other people that do it, but essentially you need a leader. You need someone to step up, make things happen, lead the pack. You don't need someone submissive. You need someone that can make things happen and get things done. You can give them a project and they're going to get it done. And so I think CEOs, they fit that description pretty well.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. China.
She'll return in like 30 seconds.
Okay, we'll bring China back. Zuri.
My definition of an alpha male is someone who's dominant, strong, independent, leads, stands on his word, doesn't go against his word just because the rest of the crowd feels one way. And I think they're very well off to our community because a lot of people are trying to bend the rules, and in some situation, the rules don't need to be bent. They just need to be followed. And men can correct that. Even as far as women, when they get out of control, they don't even get involved in the situation. They can just control it and let it be known. Like once this is said, and just follow through with it. And so I grew up around alpha males my whole life, pretty much. My father, everyone. And that's kind of who I surround myself around. And I feel like they say beta males, I don't think they can lead the community because they bend too much and they can go back on their word. And really alpha males aren't really too much. They're not fearful like beta males, I would say. They're not fearful like that. They're going to stand on people, and then they can have people fall behind them because everybody falls behind somebody that they know that can protect and lead.
Okay. Not fearful. Okay. Penny.
So you want a definition and example?
Hold on. Is China? Oh no, China's not back yet. Give me examples if you can if you want to use well-known people that we know or personal people in your life. We're trying to ascertain this baseline for what an alpha male is.
For me in my life, my dad's an alpha male. He's a very principled individual. Actually, there's quite a few actually in my family. These men are leaders. They're good fathers. They're husbands. These men are principled and they're steadfast. People that are principled and steadfast, it's hard to steer them off their course. Now, to be clear, those principles, in my definition of alpha, may or may not be what we would consider to be moral or something that we like. But they're steadfast nevertheless. They're on their course. They set it, and that's the direction in which they're headed, good or bad. But in my personal life, my father's very much an alpha male, and I have an uncle that comes to mind immediately that recently passed due to COVID. Unfortunately, he was very much an alpha male, very much so. He was the head of the family. That family was a patriarchally led, for sure. He was the man of the house. He was the head of the house, and folks they yielded to him. A godly man, nevertheless, but he was definitely an alpha. When he barked, everybody heard it. So
Okay. China.
Sorry about that, guys. So the question is, anyone an alpha in our personal life?
Yeah, give us an example of, we're trying to set the baseline for what an alpha male is. What is the alpha male that we're discussing? So I want to hear everybody's perspectives on who they see as an alpha male. So you can either use personal examples or you can use public figures to best describe what you feel is an alpha male.
Okay. To me, an alpha male, every man wants to be him and every woman wants to be with him.
Ooh.
I unfortunately did not have a relationship with my father, but my sister is married to a wonderful man. He's definitely an alpha. When he speaks, they listen. He's a great example for my nieces. Everyone thinks the world of their nieces, nephews, kids, children, all of that. But I can honestly say, because they have that male presence in the home, you can actually you can get that sense of feeling from that. So when he speaks, they listen. He's a great provider, a great protector. They know that at the end of the day, they can always lean on him. And that's just my definition of an alpha. Just confident, strong, commands attention. That's my definition.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm going to shoot out some. I'm going to shoot out some names so we can really just narrow this in, as we get on the same page. I'm going to give you some names and tell me why you think he is or is not an alpha male. So, first name, Donald Trump.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Alpha.
I was going to say alpha.
No question about it. He's an alpha all day, every day.
What makes him an alpha?
Trump is on his direction. Trump is definitely he's in obviously there's some toxic traits in there, but Trump is unyielding. Trump has his direction. He sucks all the air out of the room. These are some of the negative things, but Trump has his agenda. Trump is unyielding. He's principled, even though those principles are questionable. He's unyielding, and he dominates. Trump dominates. So he's definitely an alpha. Trump does not kowtow to many people, if any. He does not kowtow. So yeah, Trump is very much an alpha. He's very much an alpha guy.
Yeah, he's always steered the path, no matter what the Democrats or anybody's had to say. Even if it was something good or bad that he said, he stuck to it and never went back on his word.
Shoot, it ain't about Democrats. Trump does not kowtow to Republicans that does not see his way of thinking. If you don't, he will gobble you up.
So
he does not follow. He does not follow.
I love China's description. Every man wants to be him and every woman wants to be with him. Is that the case for Donald Trump?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say absolutely. All women love men in power. And like she says, as long as they're, like she said, the presence, they know they can fall back on them, because 9 times out of 10, even being an alpha male, your energy speaks when you enter the room. You don't even have to say anything. People already know from your energy that that's him.
Absolutely.
And like she
And,
says,
and
and when he speaks, listen, even like I would say like the cattiest females or people that have something to say when the alpha male walks in the room and speaks, and the attention is commanded without even him having to say anything or demanding the attention. It's already there. His presence, the energy is felt.
all right, next guy. President Barack Obama.
I don't think he's alpha.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one, but I think he's alpha. I think Brock is alpha because Brock set his course, right? I'm looking at his personal life, right? I'm not going to judge him basically political because he's not a megalomaniac that Trump was, and it's obvious that Trump's an alpha. Here's why Brock's an alpha. Brock set his course, right? He found a woman who was, at least in his law firm, his superior, right? He managed to bring her on his path, marry her, even though she was not on board for him running for office because she didn't like the idea of being broke. He said, look, this is what I want to do. I need you to get on board. Let's bring my kids. And this is where I'm going. And she got on board. She went with him. And he cleared his path. When Hillary said, hey, you would make a good vice president, Barack said, I'm not running for vice president. This is my path. And he went and he won the election. And, he set his course. So I think Barack, too, is an alpha male. He's somewhat beta in his marriage, but, he's an alpha male.
Ira, you awful quiet there, brother.
Yeah, I think with Barack, I think he knows the game. I think he knows how to switch in and out of character. And I think like most men, they can play both roles. I think with alphas, it works better at work, but like when you're at home, you sometimes you just gotta know the characteristics, right? And so I'm always like, when I think about the whole alpha and beta, one, let's not confuse our identities with the title, right? Like, let's know who we are. Like for me, I know that I'm a man of Christ before any, but I know how to play the roles well. And I think one thing that we don't talk about is sigmas. How often do we talk about sigmas? Because I believe that true sigmas, they stand outside of the hierarchy, right? And they're not necessarily considering themselves an alpha or a beta because they kind of do their own thing, right? Like they know the personality traits of each role, and they just do their own thing. And I think one thing I like about sigmas is that we can switch in and out of characters, or at least people
So catch me up. Sigmas, SGIMAS,
SIGMA.
SIGMA. Explain that. What is a sigma?
Yeah, so a sigma, he doesn't necessarily classify himself as an alpha or a beta. If you think of a sigma, he's equal to the alpha, the real sigma, that is. But he does his own thing. Like he's in his own zone. He's mysterious. Like I think when you think about the alphas, they got to be known as the alphas. Like they walk into a room and they feel like
they have to be recognized. They
get their energy from people.
Right.
And sigmas, we get our energy from internal, like inside. We don't need a crowd to have a good time, We're just who we are.
Okay. So we get our energy. So Ira, you classify as a sigma.
Well, I say that I embody most characteristics of a sigma than an alpha. But I can tell you this, there's been moments where I had to play the alpha role and I played it well. And now I play more the sigma role just based on like what I do with work and just live. So
can I state from my opinion, like what he says, being a sigma or alphas get their energy from other people? I don't believe the alpha males get their energy from other people. Like say, I don't really like we can use the title alpha, but just the title just so we can get the differences in them. But I don't think alpha males, a lot like a true alpha male, they don't have to get their energy from someone else. Because I know plenty of alpha males that don't get their energy from anybody. It's already in them. They don't need the crowd. They're going to stand on their own. If 50,000 people are saying yes, they're still going to say no and stand on that. And if everybody's saying go right, they're going to go left. And I feel like, and at the same time, when you made the comment and said they know when to play the role, alpha doesn't have to play any kind of role. They are who they are.
Ira?
Yeah, I think that's good, and I think it's good that you have your opinion. But I think with alphas, they have to get their energy from a crowd, right? Like they have people following them. When I was like when I played the CEO, I needed my team. I needed people to support my vision, right? So I had betas that would follow me. So when I stepped outside of the CEO role, I ran into the characteristics of a Sigma. And what I like about the Sigma is that someone in that characteristics, they know the roles of each person in the hierarchy. We could be the beta, we could be the alpha, and I don't know. So those are just my thoughts. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. But I respect
So
your
Ira,
opinion.
I'm new to the Sigma. I've never heard Sigma before. Is that like is this like are we creating a spectrum to the between the poles of alpha and beta? And
Well,
Sigma falls somewhere in the middle.
I mean, me personally, I think the Sigma is better than the Alpha, because I think, and the only reason why I say that, right? The
Well,
only
you're a
reason
Sigma.
why I
You can
think,
classify yourself as a Sigma. I would guess that you would think that that's better than alpha.
well, the only reason why
I
I
wouldn't doubt
think
that.
that the Sigma is better than the Alpha is because we know how to play roles accordingly. So we understand how the beta male works, and we also understand how the alpha male works. And so when you have the game figured out, in my opinion, when you can understand the personality types, you can be who you need to be in the situation that you're in, right? And so I think alphas are focused on being alphas, and you got betas focused on being beta. But with sigmas, we're like we like we go with the flow. Like we do our own
You're
thing.
chameleons.
Chameleon, yeah, that's one of them. That's a
Yeah, I was still gonna say I still kind of disagree with that because I've grown up around alphas, I've been around them, and that's not the energy that they bring.
What's the energy
When
they
you say
bring,
because
Zuri?
even
what's the
okay,
energy that they bring.
even to me, dominance, they like you say, the role that they know how to play, they don't have to play into a role because everybody knows. And you said, okay, even starting from like childhood, or just saying from my perspective, because I don't know about young boys play a role from the beginning when you guys all play to see who's dominant. You guys are always trying to see who's dominant out the group just growing up. And even the same thing like for the community when we were talking earlier, I feel like the alpha males are needed even for young men for something to look forward. Alphas create confidence in men. And like I say, there may be betas and sigmas. Everybody has to know their role and which way to play it, just like women. But you can be an alpha, become a CEO, or even work under a CEO, and that CEO will still be like, hey, come here in my office and talk to me, because they realize and recognize that people follow that person and he's a leader, but he just hasn't stepped up into that position yet. But it can be done. I feel like you
Right.
don't have to downplay yourself role once you know a position or you know who you are as a person. And a lot
And
of
I'm
times it's
gonna
not something that's given to you. This is
yeah, and
me.
I'm gonna add to that because that's what I want people to see. Okay, so the betas are following the alphas because essentially the betas want to become the alpha, right? Like they're following the leaders. That's what betas do. They're people pleasers. They go with the flow. They are the ones who they look to others for approval. And essentially, if the beta does a good job, he ultimately becomes the alpha. He becomes a leader. He becomes confident. He becomes dominant. But so now to add
I
to
don't
this
think so.
part, well, that's cool. Those are your thoughts. But the Sigma, he understands how he can jump in and out of characteristics. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about something different, but the Sigma, he knows those roles accordingly so he can jump in and jump out. And that's all I'm saying. We can move forward.
Okay, so let's do
And
let's do this. Hold that question because this is going to be really interesting. We're going to have to really mind this. But let me go through the rest of my list here because the Sigma. Thanks for bringing this new little wrinkle in, Ira, because this, this is the third part, and I didn't think we were going to come up with new territory, but you just created it. So this is going to definitely be a good discussion. And Miss Zuri, she's ready to get in with it. All right. If there's, if there's anything, if there's any such concept as an alpha female, I'm feeling a very alpha energy from Missouri. But we'll continue with that. So let me give some more examples. All right. So China. Well, I had put up President Obama. What's your take on President Obama as an alpha male? Do you see him as that?
I do. I see him as alpha. Penny mentioned it. It was another politician. It wasn't Hillary, but someone else had told him, they said, I don't think now is your time. I think in a few years you'll be ready to run. And he said, no, now is it. And he had 8 years. So
A lot of folks told him that.
I'm sorry, what's that?
A lot of folks told him that now is not your time. It's too early. It's too soon. You don't have the experience.
Exactly. And the thing is, to me and Alpha, once he puts his mind to it, he's gonna go for it, and he's gonna get it. He's a go-getter.
He's gonna get it. Mm-hmm.
Of course, Obama would definitely be an Alpha in my book.
Zuri?
Well, my opinion on it was based on like personal reasons, but I don't want to bring that up just yet. So for now, I'll probably just say neutral in it because the things that I have to say about it.
All right.
Way off.
Are your reasons partisan, Zuri?
Totally different.
Okay, all right.
Say that again.
Are they partisan, Zuri? Are your reasons partisan?
I just think it's based off things that I've researched and I've did some really deep down research on. Doesn't lead me to believe that he's an alpha male. Just certain things. Yes.
Well, this is going to be good. This is going to be good.
I'm interested in
Obama. There's things.
All right,
I'm interested in others' research.
Yeah, I'll throw the whole thing off. If I start talking about Obama, it will throw the whole subject.
No. We're gonna come back to that. We coming back to that.
We gotta.
Yeah, we're coming back to that.
Okay, you can't lead it. You can't sip the tea and not share it. Come on now.
Here's my next man for consideration. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Alpha.
I would agree.
Alpha. Although, again, and I think this is uniquely a black male trait, a black man trait. We may be alpha out there, but in our marriages, no. With due respect, we have a bit of a beta, and I think George said that beta men tend to be more married, but I think within our marriage, at least this trait I've noticed with black men, they may dominate the world, but they don't down their houses. Because case in point, I don't know that. For example, when Bill Clinton did all of his trysts, very public trysts, and he had a reputation for that. So did John F. Kennedy. So, a lot of powerful white men have their reputation. Hillary never turned her back on him, never. Even after she never did. But right now, and I can't think of the woman's name. Clarence Thomas's wife is an embarrassment to a Supreme Court justice. Even though I don't agree with his views, he's still a Supreme Court justice, and his wife is spewing utter nonsense, and he has not told her to be quiet. He has not checked her. He's not brushed her off. He just kind of let her implode his name and reputation, and that is very not alpha. I don't think if Melania were to dare, badmouth Trump, there would be some consequences. He would say something, or there would be a response. But that just goes to show that how he runs and controls his house. I don't see Clarence Thomas doing that, clearly by his wife's behavior. My opinion.
Well, I'm going on record. I typically, because I try to facilitate discussions, I try to keep my personal opinions out of it, because we have enough here for personal opinions. But I'm going to just stir it up a little bit, and I'm going to put on here for later discussion. I do not see Justice Clarence Thomas as an alpha male, beginning with the rationale, Penny, that you just stated, because that goes directly against Zuri's rationale, which is an alpha male does not require your energy, doesn't require your acceptance, an alpha male is not concerned about being popular. An alpha male is going to get it done. So that's anybody within his sphere. There's no exceptions. But let's I just want to put that on, and we can come back to that. All right, let's go to Kanye West.
I mean,
Oh.
use a definition.
Okay,
Also,
I can-
alpha. Go ahead, Zuri.
Yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say that's a hard one, but I would say as of for now, yes. Yes, he's an alpha.
Yeah,
A few years ago, you might ask me
Kanye
that
don't
question.
care.
I don't know.
So pre.
Doesn't care. I think once upon a time.
When was he different than he
I
is
don't
now,
know.
Zuri?
Okay, interesting.
You said what makes him different?
I don't see him as being.
What
I don't
makes
see
him
him being
different
different.
now?
I don't think. Yeah, I'm saying what makes him different now. I don't think Kanye is any different now with respect to his behavior than he's ever been. I think he's always been the same way. I think he's just a little. His
I think
remarks
his
are a little more
behavior
off
has
base than
been the
normal,
same, but I would say that. But when he first came out, he was never going against all this. He would say stuff every now and then again, like with the President Bush remarks, and when he met with Trump,
he's shown
and
us hints his whole career.
When he said here and there, but not when he was with Kim Kardashian. Now he's starting to stand out and say these things. But before in the past, even with the women he's dealt with in his life, he was married to, I think, Amber Rose and a few more people.
They were never married.
And alpha males, well, he dated her. And he wanted to marry her, but she said no. So in the aspect of his life right now, I would say, yeah. That's why I say I can't even say yes or no to that question. So let me just take that back. I can't even say yes or no to that.
Well, I'm standing on my yeah. I mean, I look at his rise to, you know, fame and success. I look at all the doors closed in his face, and he refused, you know, he refused to take no as an answer. I look at, you know, he's been opinionated. I mean, Kanye believes what Kanye believes, and he clearly ain't gonna let nobody sway his beliefs. You know, I don't see him he's more outspoken. I think he's crazier now, you know, than we've ever seen him. But Kanye's been Kanye as far as I'm concerned, with respect to his, this is my direction. I'm going that direction. You're not going to shake me from that.
Okay. Can I ask you this though? What do most of the celebrities that are in entertainment have to do to get to that fame? And of course, the things that they have to do in order to obtain it and to keep getting it. Some of those things that some of those people have to do, a lot of us, or people that don't make it to that like, let's say, that realm of entertainment, a lot of alpha males wouldn't even dare do those things that are asked of them to do by these entertainers that run the entertainment business.
What do you, I don't know. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean.
This is good.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you mean?
When I say,
because hip hop, I separate hip hop from all the other genres, all the other parts of entertainment. Hip hop is different. I separate it. It's not the same.
Why do you separate it, if I may ask?
Because hip hop is not the same as you know, it's not the same as Hollywood. Those guys blaze the trail for themselves and have now figured out, you know, how to leverage their talent. That's why Snoop and Dre and all those guys are way wealthier than the guys that preceded them, because they figured out how to, you know, not only, you know, make room for themselves, but kind of make their own table. And so it's a entirely different game. If the game were the same as it was back when hip hop was first mainstreamed, you would not have potentially 3 billionaires, you know, in hip hop. You know, these guys are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. That would have never happened in the past. They changed the game.
I've also listened. I used to listen to hip hop, and I still do. But back in the day, they weren't owned by the Jewish people, like Kanye was talking about. So now that the Jewish people basically
they made all the money off those guys.
Off who?
They all talk about it. I'm trying to think of some J lyrics talking about how you know, we used to think like being on billboards and these awards was the place to be. He said he was talking about guys, and I'm paraphrasing here because I'm paraphrasing here. He said that He said, you know, this guy is cool, but you're not writing lyrics and going to the shows. You're not doing any of that. So how are you making all this money? You know, and he's not the only one that talks about this. A lot of rappers, you know, in their lyrics talk about how these guys used to use them and their talents. They don't do that anymore. They can't do it anymore. They may not own the Sonys but these guys are making a ton of money off their own talent by owning their own masters. They've changed the game because they realize I hold the cards. I'm the talent. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, they didn't own this.
And now when they do try to own their masters, a lot of times what happens? Prince, Michael Jackson.
They still own their masters. Michael Jackson owned his masters.
But what happens, Zuri? What happens when they try to own their masters?
They die.
That's no, because Snoop owns all his stuff. Dre owns his stuff. You know, Cube owns all his own stuff. These people all own their own stuff. Actually, Eminem's masters were owned by Michael Jackson, and so were the Beatles. Yeah, they do. But most of these guys, that's how you make they make their money. That's how they make their fortune. They own their own stuff. You can't make money in music if you don't own the masters. That's the game. That's where all the money is. It's and touring, but the money is in the masters.
The touring is where most musicians at that level make their money. They don't make their money really, especially in this day and age, off of their recordings. It is in the touring, but that the owning of the masters is the most coveted position, and most professional musicians are not in that position. Michael Jackson was in that position. Who else? Who are the few artists that made? And Michael, who was it? Michael owned the Beatles. Michael owned.
He owned the Beatles himself, and he owned a whole bunch of people's masters.
And then Prince.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish. He would.
I was just saying, Michael figured out. Michael changed music because he understood. He understood the power of the masters. He owned the Beatles himself, Eminem. He had a whole catalog of people. Like when he remixed a song and wanted to borrow beats, he didn't borrow or ask permission. He bought it. Then he remade it. You know what I'm saying? But he was, Michael was ahead of the game.
So that just brought it, just added to the list of alpha males. Michael Jackson, alpha male.
Yeah.
China.
Absolutely, I think he was. Yes, by definition, yes.
Yeah.
Even though his persona, would you call his persona an alpha male persona?
Ooh.
No.
Not
in my eyes. No.
I'm sorry. What's that?
I said not in my eyes. Like he said, his persona or how he was. I said to me, no.
Yeah, I definitely don't see Michael Jackson as a alpha. I don't. I mean, I think he's a good beta. I think he's a good follower. I mean, I think he does leadership type stuff, but I think essentially he's a beta at heart, or maybe something even lower.
How is Michael a follower?
He's not an alpha. I can tell you that. I mean, I think he's
How
a
is
leader.
He a follower?
I don't think he's necessarily like a follower, but I don't think he's an alpha. I'll say that.
I can say one thing. I think that he was a follower when he bleached his skin, because Michael Jackson used to be almost our skin complexion way.
Oh, that's deep.
He never, huh?
Well,
that's
using that
my
logic,
opinion.
then Trump is not an alpha because he continues to dye his hair.
That's different concepts. Dyeing your hair and bleaching your skin is two totally different things. Because
just to
people
be clear,
dye their hair every day.
Just to be clear, just
if you
because
bleach
you
your
have,
skin, that means that you're not like yourself as a person and who you was created as.
Go ahead, Ira.
I just wanted to add, just to be clear, just because you have one trait, it doesn't mean that you're predominantly alpha or beta.
Good
point. I think Michael Jackson is straight up a beta. He maybe have leadership characteristics, but he's a beta. Like he's a follower. He's a natural beta, right? And
And I'm asking how. What did he follow?
So I'll say he's friendly. He's trustworthy. I mean, he I don't know. I don't see him as an alpha. I don't see.
Okay, let's look at this with the Jackson family, the dynamic within the Jackson family. Joe Jackson, alpha or beta?
Alpha all day.
Yeah.
Joe Alpha all day.
No
Joe,
question.
Joe Jackson, Michael Jackson, equal alphas, or is one an alpha and one a beta?
No, I don't think they're equal. I think Joe dominates Mike. Joe dominates pretty much everybody in that family. But yeah, I think
So that if he dominated Mike, then that means Mike was a beta, because even as a child, he dominated them even as adults still. I think he dominated them so much it turned Michael into a beta.
So she and I, we
my
agree.
dad. So by that stance, right? By that stance, then I'm not an alpha because my dad's an alpha.
No, that's not true. But like I was just going like what Ira said about Michael Jackson was a great loving person. Everybody loved him, had great things to say about him. That still doesn't make him an alpha. I mean, like everybody has a role that they have to play. And just
Michael
even
Jackson
like
was mocked and ridiculed. Michael Jackson was mocked and ridiculed for Michael Jackson was mocked and ridiculed by his fashion style, the way he chose to live, and Michael Jackson still lived that same life. He was unyielding to that. And then in industry, he dominated and changed it. And he was still unyielding. Did y'all
There's a lot
have
of
you ever watched
artists
any of the
that dominate. Elton John
talk
dominated the industry.
But I'm saying, so like read about how people talk about how Mike wasn't doing this and Mike wasn't going to have it that way. You see what I'm saying? I don't see that as being a beta guy. He didn't go along just to get along. It was his way, or it was no way.
But I think that came with his position, because when you're in a position of power, you have to play that alpha role. But I think at heart, he's a beta. He's easygoing. He's pure to please the crowd. He's Mike. Like he's not an alpha. Like he's not. I mean, yeah. I don't see that.
Okay. Let's move on, because there's a point to why I'm putting these examples. The first part of this conversation, I wanted us to kind of really examine which alpha male, what alpha male are we describing? So I want to give two more examples, and I want to go to the second phase of this discussion. Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin is an alpha. Yeah, he's a leader. He's charismatic. He's not passive. He speaks up for what he believes in. He has purpose. He got vision. He's a leader. He's an alpha. It's all the description.
His opponents would say he was a beta. They would say that his nonviolent stance, turn your other cheek stance, is very beta. They thought that he was very weak because he refused to. He was always. It was always never bayonet, and always peace, never bayonet. But they would disagree with that. But I agree with your assertion. I think King was very much an alpha guy because he was very. I believe the white ladies loved him.
China.
Hey, listen, King is my political hero, but I'm not above talking about his faults.
I'm a Malcolm X person.
Well, I was going to get
Malcolm
him.
too.
I was going to get him next, but let's stay with MLK. China, what do you say?
I was going to say, everything in life is situational. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So as far as his stance, what he believed in, he was unmoved. That's alpha. But at the same time, he wanted to be, he wanted to please everyone. He wanted to be liked. He wanted to be loved amongst everyone. So I just really think it's situational, to be honest with you. I know we're done with Michael Jackson, but it's the whole black and white. It's not always so clear sometimes.
I got you. Zuri. What'd you say?
I would say, I'm trying to think. I would say Martin Luther King was more of a beta, but I'm not going off personal. I'm just going from like when I was growing up, things my father told me and things kind of that Penny said. He was a leader, but I feel like he wasn't a strong leader. He always wanted peace. He wanted us to fall back instead of standing up for what we were really supposed to stand up for. And like I said, he loved white women. And I feel like Martin Luther King, when you really do get into the research of it, I feel like he was a little bit passive. And like they say, at the end of the day, Martin Luther King did state that he felt like he led his people into a house.
Okay.
That's also a third person quote. We don't know if King actually said that. And I hate that I did that, but if you have to be violent to be alpha or aggressive,
I'm not saying you have to be violent, but something my father told me growing up, Martin Luther King always showed up when there was problems only. He wasn't just a stand-up guy all the time. He wasn't.
I never said he was always a stand-up guy.
I pretty much don't. I'm not a Martin Luther King fan like that. Like I said, he's great.
I'm a big fan.
He had a day, but not me.
Okay, so
I haven't known since
let's tie this question in, or the topic of discussion. Women make rules for beta males, but break rules for alpha males. So all of these examples, we can look at some of these men that we've brought up and examine if the women in their lives broke the rules for them. So let's begin with Donald Trump. Did the women in Donald Trump's life make the rules for him, or did they break the rules for him?
Broke.
Broke.
They all broke the rules for him.
Why?
With the level of embarrassment that Trump has caused Melania, she has not broke her silence yet. Speaking out against her husband. A woman who, in interviews talks about, at least like when they do the little, like the documentaries about them, there's one about how they met and all this other kind of nonsense. She talks about how amazing he was. And I think, was it Barbara Walters asked her, oh God, I'm dating myself, asked her, what did she say? About the Playboy rumors, and she's like, Donald's not that guy anymore, and if he were, I wouldn't be interested in that, and blah 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 blah. Clearly, he's the same person. He's the same man. He's always going to be, and he will throw even his wife under the bus, for power, and and she still, she has not spoken out against him. And actually, I think with the exception of one, I think all his wives pretty much stayed in line until they got divorced, till he got thrown to the wayside.
China, Zuri, how do you see the women in Donald Trump's life? Did they make rules for him, or did they break the rules for Donald to keep him?
I'll let you go, Zuri.
I would agree that they broke the rules for him. When you say break the rules for them, what are you referring to?
I'm leaving that open.
Like their own personal, or?
Well, I mean, Penny brought up a really good example with Melania, and I didn't really think about that, but yeah, Melania in her own right is her own person. She doesn't really need Trump. She had a life before him. But clearly, even from the vagina grabbing incident, that was the first step where Melania had to make a decision: do I stay or should I stay or should I go?
And she stayed.
Had he been a beta, can a beta pull that off? Can a beta grab a handful of vagina and his woman be okay with that?
I don't think so, but I think if her husband was a politician or on a high level or had a lot of money, they would put up with it.
A beta wouldn't have been in that position.
Mm.
In that position.
Facts.
Facts
To do that.
That's very true.
Mega facts.
Yeah.
Mega facts.
And the thing about, especially when it comes to the women in their lives, when we're discussing an alpha male, the women in their lives, they know who they are. They know them better than any of us do. So that goes back again. When they speak, we listen. It's that shut up, be quiet. Not saying that that's, what's
Right.
I don't know how their household is,
Right.
but it's almost like, okay, I know I can't do this over here. I know if I can go over here, I can tolerate a little bit more, but I may not have what the money, the power, the fame, all of that I have over here. So I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna let him take the lead. And that's Trump's whole MO. That's why he wants those lovely ladies.
She ain't that fine to me, with due respect.
I'm sorry, what's that?
She ain't that fine to me, with due respect. To each his own.
Yeah.
Kanye West.
Ooh, this kills that argument because he was with Kim and Kim was like, I ain't dealing with this nonsense. So she out. So I guess that kills my Kanye West argument right there. And somebody said
she
Amber
was out.
Rose
She
wouldn't
still
marry
had
him.
4 kids from. But guess
said what?
what? She had 4 kids from him to keep that legacy going. Kim Kardashian had those 4. I think she had 3 children by him.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. That's true.
To keep that going.
True. Yeah. I guess I was thinking somebody said that Amber Rose told him no, and then Kim Kardashian is she cheating on him no right now, man. She cheating on dude right now with freaking Pete Davidson.
So do you believe Kardashian
I just saw that was the other day.
Did Kim break rules to for Kanye? Or did she make rules for Kanye?
Kim broke rules for everybody.
Yeah, Kim.
I don't think she made rules for Kanye because Kim Kardashian has money, but she didn't have Kanye money.
Ooh.
Exactly. Now
Kim
that
Kardashian
she has
gave
babies.
Kanye alone when they got together. She had more money than he did when they got together.
From what?
She had more. She had more money than Kim had more money than Kanye when they got together. There was that famous she loaned him $50 million or something like that.
That third party or
they got
true?
Together? No, that's true. That's
a fact.
No, it's a fact. Kim Kardashian.
No, I'm just asking. I never heard that Kim Kardashian gave him a loan. I never heard that.
Yeah, she loaned when they first got together.
All right, so look, one more. Martin Luther King. Did Coretta make rules for Martin, or did she break rules for Martin?
She absolutely broke rules for Martin. Martin was a philanderer. We all know this. And Coretta, she stayed in line. And she didn't divorce him. And she to her death, she never had a bad word to say about us. Not publicly.
I agree with you, Penny, because you just made a very great comment. And I believe this goes for a majority of all alpha men, regardless of what profession or anything that you're in. You said most women, when they are with alpha males, they stay in line. Like say, they only know that they can go so far or say so much before it's like, all right, you're crossing the line, or let's not take it there. Like, I'm not saying it has to be, but innately, and I feel like that's what all women, regardless of what level you are on, when you're dealing with the male with that kind of energy, that's part of it. Like China said, women know what they're dealing with when they get into it, because a lot of times you didn't checked out the man already, trying to figure out what's going on and all that. So women know what they're dealing with when they get into the situation, especially an alpha male, like she said, especially alpha men.
Okay, so Queens. This clearly we have real life examples that support or give validity to this statement that women make rules for betas but break rules for alphas. Penny referred to a statistic that I had given in the first episode, the first part, which is that in marriages, a significant majority of women find the alpha male attractive, but as life partners, they prefer the beta male because of the security that they represent. This is a statistical finding. So that means that the alpha male represents a certain level of insecurity. And when you look at the needs, the male has 5 needs, the female has 5 needs. On average, the top need for the male is physical, and the top need for the woman is emotional, more specifically, security. That's just the statistical statement. They may not apply to you too, or it might, but just on average, that's the going trend. So if the alpha male represents this insecurity, China and Zuri, I want you to really kind of enlighten us as men. What is the mindset? What's the thought process that would contribute to the women breaking these rules for men that they don't find security with?
I personally think that women desire an alpha man, or they desire the idea of him, but in reality they want a beta. And what I mean by that is, I'm sorry, what's that?
No, I was saying I agree with you, China.
Okay, it's sometimes there's a little lag. So if I'm saying that a lot, it's because I'm kind of catching the tail end of what you're saying. But and you know, and I think all of that, you know, especially comes with, you know, your level of maturity. You know, in my 30s now, I wouldn't even look at a guy that I was interested in my 20s with, right? You know, I wanted the cocky one. I wanted the attractive one, the one with the money, the one who, you know, when he enters a room, all eyes are on him. That, you know, that encompasses in some ways of an alpha. But at the same time, you know, when you're older and you're more mature and you're understanding exactly what you want and what you need, that's where a lot of women tend to actually desire that beta male then. If that makes any sense, you know, they want that alpha, but at the same time, they want the reality of a beta.
So in your younger stage of development, you wanted the more dangerous guy.
Yeah.
What did that dangerous guy represent to you? What was so alluring or attractive to you at that stage of your development?
At that stage, it was power and security, right? But, you know, of course, it goes with when you know better, you do better. And when you get older, you do understand how foolish that was. So the whole good guys finish last, that really doesn't apply to, I believe, any of us at this stage of our lives now. So.
Okay. Zuri, your perspective?
I believe, me personally, I think when women date beta males, it's a control issue. They want someone they can control, and I think that's why a lot of women go to beta males, because they want someone that they control, tell what to do, that's going to bend backwards for them, put up with their nonsense, even though they know that they're going to show security. Alpha men, to me, yeah, they can be. All alpha men don't have to be tough guys and be in the streets as what we think. A lot of people think that's what alpha males are, but that's not that all the time. And a lot of us confuse that distinction because we didn't. I feel like a lot of it falls back into, even with women, fathers being in our home. So we don't have discernment when it comes to picking those men. We think that, okay, this guy's tough, he's running the streets, he can protect us. No, and that's all he has. He has no job, he has no security, he has no true hustle, any of that. So a lot of us confuse the difference in those things. But I'm like what China says, most women desire alpha male man. But in reality, when it comes to the stipulations or things that you have to do, in reality, like I said, knowing when you cross the line or when you're getting out of line, when your behavior is out of line, that's gonna make his let's say his image look bad and things of such as that. Yeah, a lot of women, to me, and the perspective of women have changed where it's more out in the open now. I feel like back in the day, it was a little bit more under the rug, but nowadays women want a man that's kind of just like them, emotional, and I want to control you, tell you what to do. It's my way or the highway. I don't like it. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm the alpha. I run everything. Or as in today, I don't need a man, so I'm going to get a beta and things of that nature.
Wait a minute. Did you,
Zuri, did you say I don't need a man, I'm gonna get a beta? Oh my god! Oh my god!
Or get another female, or another female that they think is an alpha.
That's a t-shirt. I don't need a man. I'm gonna get beta. That was the line of the night. That's the line of the night.
I'm about to tweet that. Put your name, Zuri. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I gotta put it out there. That is hilarious.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you on the show tonight, Zuri. You are bringing it tonight, girl. All right, so China, Zuri. Who's more exciting, the alpha male at any stage of your development, young, present, and as you get older? Who is more exciting and desirous to you? Who's more exciting? Who evokes more passion? The alpha or the beta?
Males.
Alpha, of course.
Alphas.
Alphas. There. I mean, you know,
if you're going out with the alpha male, you're gonna have fun. Nothing's gonna happen to you. They're the life. I'm not even saying they can be the life of the party, but you're also in other aspects, you feel more protected. You know that they're not bending the rules. And even you could be like, okay, me and my girls, it's like, say it's a group of your homegirls and you have one or two alpha males with you. You know, the whole time you're having fun, nobody's going to mess with you. Even if you decide to get a little bit out of line or say I had one drink too many, you know that you're still going to be protected. And they're going to make sure that nothing happens to you. And I think the women do, like China said, do desire alpha male because even from young ages, like they always say, girls, we need guidance. And we as women still need guidance, and men create that balance for us. And if we do get too emotional or too out of line, they create that boundary for you.
Alphas are more exciting, period. You know you're gonna have a good time. I mean, just being honest. Not saying the little betas over there that they serve their purpose as well. But
y'all are killing betas right now. It's gonna be when they start watching the what do you mean? Oh my god!
Purpose, though,
they really do. China's right.
Shaming. It's some beta shaming on this thing right
No.
George, how dare you allow that beta shaming?
Beta will let you get out of line.
Hilarious.
His question, he said, what's more desired when, as far as in the dating world, as the dating aspect of it. When you're with an alpha, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna have fun. You can relax. You can sit back and let him lead. He can plan. He can do. It's not. Well, baby, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What do you like to do? It's now, girl. Wear this. Have your heels on. Have your dance. Have your
Get it together.
On,
Get it together.
Ready and come on.
Let's go.
That's it. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I want to add. Okay, so this is perfect. China, you made a great statement. Okay, so I just want to add that the alpha is the mature version of the beta. And the beta is who the alpha hopes. No, I'm sorry. The beta is hoping to become the alpha. And so that's why he works perfectly under alpha. I believe when God created the world, he made it like this because the beta is learning from the alpha. Before I played the role of an alpha, guess what? I had to be a beta. I had to be a follower. And so I think that not all betas ultimately become alphas because they don't take on those leadership roles. Like they don't take on and leadership, not just at work, right? I'm talking leadership in the family. I'm talking about a man, husband and all of that. But this is what I want you guys to know. The Sigma is very unique because the Sigma is the mature version, in my opinion, of the Alpha. He's mastered being the beta and the lower levels. He's mastered being the Alpha. And now it's like he's in his own world. He do his own thing. He's the leader. Like he knows how to step in and out of character. So for example, I think you and China was saying that, or somebody was saying that you need a man who can sometimes play those beta characteristics. You know what I'm saying? I can't be an alpha to my woman like all day. She's gonna get irritated. And it's just gonna probably irritate me. So I think a real man, he's mastered the game. He can jump in and out of characters. At the end of the day, he's an alpha by trade. You know, that's his thing. But he knows how to be a beta when his woman requires it, but he also knows how to be an alpha, when the moment requires it. So
Interesting. Before you respond to that, before you respond to that, let me jump in because I've been remiss on adding in our chat room. We have My Connect who's been following along, and I apologize, My Connect, for not being more timely in my response with you. But this was at 10:18, so I'm really behind. My Connect says, first, Michael Jackson was a gamma, LOL. So we ain't even talked about gamma. My Connect then says Joe Jackson was an alpha, so I think we all are in agreement with that. And then My Connect says Michael Jackson was something lower than a beta. Interesting. So My Connect, if you're still on, would you please give us more explanation on what do you mean by something lower than a beta? Give us some more on that. We appreciate your participation. Okay, back to Ira's assessment here. What's your response? What are your thoughts on Ira saying that the beta is the mature version of the alpha, and the sigma is the mature version of the? I may have gotten those. Can you just recap that again, Ira?
Yeah. So the alpha is the mature version of the beta.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The beta is who the alpha is. Well, the beta wants to become the alpha.
Okay, gotcha.
The alpha, he doesn't know it, but he really wants to be the sigma. Like he wants to be outside of it because once he masters the personality types, because before you can become an alpha, you had to be the gamma, you had to be the beta, you had to play those lower roles at some point. Mm-hmm. Maybe you was in high school and you got picked on, right? Mm-hmm. But essentially you were just going up higher the chart. And it's like when you reach a point of the alpha, it's kind of like, okay, what's next?
And the sigma is the mature version of the
alpha.
All right, so My Connect just responded and said the sigma is lower than a beta. So how does that factor in your assessment?
So they say that, but it's not the case. It's equal to, like, literally, people need to understand that the sigma is just as smart and just as wise as the alpha. Like they're on the same level. What makes the sigma just a little bit better is that we know all the traits. Like we can be the alpha if we really wanted to be the alpha, but we don't always play that role. We can also have the beta characteristics and all of the other roles that follow. But it's other stuff with the sigma, right? Like,
okay,
we're solo. Like we do our own thing. We're mysterious. People can't figure us out. We walk into a room and we don't have to speak. Like, our presence kind of speak for itself, but people, they tend to come to us. And then and we're wise, like so wise. Like we have a lot of wisdom. And I mean, it's so much. I mean, it'll probably take maybe we should do another episode on sigmas at some point.
So My Connect, My Connect, Ira is challenging you and saying that you are incorrect in your assessment that sigma is lower than a beta. So give us your rationale for why Ira is incorrect. And while we're waiting on that, I see Zuri over there. I see Zuri's mind is working in there. I can almost hear it over the internet. Zuri, what do you have to say to this?
Oh, I was just gonna ask Ira, is why does he think alpha males don't have those type of characteristics? It's like you're always saying that the alpha male is this, they can't be this, or they haven't mastered that. Why can't an alpha male have mastered all of that in one, or they all that in one? They don't have to play any kind of role. Or when you say like your presence speaks for itself and they don't have to say anything, like I just don't agree with that.
Right.
And I forgot the question I wanted to ask him, but I just don't feel like when he says alphas have to do this, or the mature version of a beta, or when he was saying something about you have to grow into that. Young boys grow up around a whole bunch of men, dominant men. Sometimes they grow into that. That's why I said, like, when you're in high school or junior high and all boys are playing and nobody gets, boys already know who's the alpha in the group because you make it known, or you already know. It's not something that you have to kind of grow into or do this or that. I feel like a lot of the times alphas embody all of that. I feel like you're just putting alphas in one box. Like they're in a box and they can't exceed what you're saying. Like they can't embody the rest of those characteristics that you're talking about.
So that's a good point. But I think alphas, they're inside of the game. Like they don't really even know that sigmas exist. And I think that they're so one track. Like, and you're right. You made a good point. Like some people can grow up around alphas and they can ultimately step into that, without exploring the beta side. So I agree with you there. But what I will say is that that's the difference between a sigma and an alpha. The alpha thinks it's just the alpha. He thinks he's at the top, but he doesn't know that there's someone equal to him that knows a little bit.
He doesn't see that. He doesn't see that person. He doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. He never saw it.
That's what I was
But he doesn't care.
But see, that's the thing, though. Let's talk about that. He didn't see it because it wasn't meant for him to see it. He didn't know that his next level was. He just assumed that this is who he is. But I think there are specific people, right, that their next level is a sigma. But I think most people, they will stay the alpha. Like, for example, let me give you another example. Okay. So when I was running my company as a CEO, I assumed that I was a sigma. I'm sorry, I assumed that I was the alpha. I didn't even know that sigmas existed, right? I never had no idea. But when I became the chairman, and not to throw these terms out, but as a chairman, I coached the CEO. So the sigma is sitting in the background, coaching the alpha on how to run the company. Now, I don't want to get into terms, but I'm just saying that I've been exposed to certain things that just resonates more with my spirit. Let me just say that. And for me, going from the alpha to the sigma was the next level because I understand all of the personality types. And so I can act according. I could be if I wanted to be the alpha, I could be the alpha. If I wanted to be this beta, I could be the beta. But as the sigma, I do my own thing. You know what I'm saying? You don't put me in no box. Like I'm the one doing my own thing. I don't like rules. I don't like regulations. I create the rules,
Interesting. All right. And
That's
Mike can. Ooh.
What'd you say, Zuri? I didn't catch that. I didn't catch what she said.
I said alpha males creates.
No, alpha males follow rules. They are inside of, most alphas are leaders inside of someone else's system. Like when you think of an alpha, he works
Not
best.
always.
Okay, well, that's predominantly their leaderships. Like they're leaders. Most alphas are leaders.
Okay, can I ask you this? You said that the CEO was you said he was advising
Alpha.
the alpha. Okay. So you think that every CEO is an alpha, or just because the alpha didn't know that doesn't make him an alpha? Because everybody doesn't know everything all around. And you said the alphas are in a box. I just don't agree with that. Alphas are the main ones that's not in a box. That's why a lot of people want to be like them, like or desire.
And I agree with you, Zuri. The fact that we just established earlier, right, so we said that women establish rules, right? Rules. If you're going to say alphas operate within those rules, clearly we identified that they don't, because women, the women will set the standard. The alpha will break that standard, and the woman will be fine with it.
Yeah.
We just established that earlier. So
Right.
men, alphas don't operate inside this box of rules. So you said.
So I respect you guys' opinion. I do. But I'll tell you this, like the way I look at it is that an alpha is staying inside of rules. They may not think they are, but essentially they are. If you're working for someone else and you're in a leadership position, you're following that system. You're following the rules. The sigma is the person that goes out and creates systems. He or she is the person that goes out and create organizations and hire people to come in and work. Like, I don't know, like that's my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on
But
it.
everybody,
I think we're trying to create a go ahead,
everyone
Zara.
follows rules when they work for somebody.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna
That does
say
not necessarily
everybody
mean they're not
follows rules
alpha.
when they work for somebody. Employment's a different ball game than the world.
Right.
Okay, so to bring it back to the connection of this question, of this statement, women make rules for beta males, but break rules for alpha males. There's so many implications to this question. First of all, it puts a hierarchy on the value between alpha and beta. There is at least a perceived higher value for the alpha if he's worth breaking the rules for. It implies that
Correct.
betas, and in that implication, it also implies that beta males are not as desirable. They serve a purpose, but they're not as desirable. And another implication, which is why I was really wanting to get as much into the female mindset as possible, is this dichotomy of the luring, attractive, desirable aspect on the woman's part for the alpha in conjunction with the desire for security of the beta. That's really confusing, because here as a man, I'm sitting here and listening, and I'm thinking, okay, now, if my goal is to attract a woman that I desire, and I know that on one hand she finds these things exciting and desirable, and on the other hand she finds these things securing, which way do I go? I mean, what do I do?
I'm going with security. So
But before you say that, you're going because statistically that's correct. Statistically, most women in long-term relationships desire the beta male for security. But I'm thinking though, as I'm listening, man, to get that security, to be able to please that woman, I've got to be less than desirable. I've got to be these things that appeal to her security, but then leaves a big gaping hole for her need for that risk taker, for that the person that she desires who presents that challenge and that risk that she can't control. If I want my woman to look for those things for me, but she's wanting security, but she really has an undercover desire for that guy she's willing to break rules for. What's a man to do?
I just want to add, I think
I was
that's,
gonna.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, before you say
Okay,
anything,
Ira, go ahead.
China was going to say something, and then Zuri, then Ira. Go ahead, China.
okay, so when it comes to the security versus the risk factor and all of the excitement, me myself, I will go with security any day, because I can teach my man, or I can put him in positions where I will make him make decisions as far as how we're going to move. because that's one thing that we women can do. We can make them. I can make a beta man feel like an alpha.
Ooh.
I promise
Oh,
you, I can.
snap.
I'm just
Okay, girl. Okay. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Stroke
Go
that
ahead,
ego.
China. Talk to me, girl.
Broke it up.
Come on now. You can lie to
Broke
me
that.
good. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. And the reason why I say that is because I can make a man feel more secure. I can make a man feel more confident. I will make you feel like you are that guy. Versus with the alpha, he's already coming in thinking he is that guy. And there's nothing that you can say. There's nothing that you can do. He can't be bent. He's unmoved. So as far as me personally, I'm going with beta all day. And it's even on a personal note, single, I pretty much got everything in line, I want the dream. I want the husband. I want the children. I want the happy ending.
Okay.
And a lot of times the alphas that I've come across, I know I'm not going to get that with them.
Okay.
Oh, yes, they're fun. Yes, they may be handsome. Yes, they may be confident, alluring, all of these things. But at the end of the day, that's not going to bring the happiness. That beta, he's going to make you feel like the queen. He's going to treat you well. He's going to make you feel loved. He's going to make you feel warm on the inside. That's what real women want.
Okay.
So.
Well, you make that sound good, China. Wow. Wow. Zuri.
I was gonna say
I want to challenge that in a second, George.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not gonna date a male. I'm not gonna date a beta male. Any of that, because like she said, yeah, I can make you feel that way, but when it comes to being and doing when we're out in the world,
okay,
can you do that? Just because I make you feel one way, when you move out in the world amongst everyone else, I don't want you thinking it made you feel like an alpha, but then when we get out in the world and the situation happens, you turn into a beta. No, I need you.
But see, I believe that's the difference.
And I feel like when we do want.
Go ahead, Zuri.
And then I was going to say as well, like what alphas are like, and what alphas are these women running into to where you guys don't think that alpha men can give you this kind of love that, like I say, there's role for everybody, but I've never been with alpha men that made me feel good, that made me feel like I was beneath or treated me any different. They treated me very well. So when people say, oh, the security, okay, just that it's not always going to be your way. You can, a man will do what he wants to do for the right woman, regardless.
Oh, that's deep.
Beta or whatever it is. Correct woman, he will bend for and he will listen to because he knows that woman is going to lead him on the right track.
Say it one more time. It's about back up and say it one and end it. What you're talking about because it's not going to always be your way. Say that one more time.
It's breaking up. I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah, Zuri, say that line one more time about it's not going to always be your way. Well,
I was like with alpha men, at the end of the day, it's not always going to be your way.
That's such a powerful statement.
It's not always going to be your way. And I don't want
that. Yes.
And as a woman, you can move emotionally, beta male with it, come get me. And sometimes as a woman, you need that guidance. It's like you're being too emotional. You're doing this because our emotions lead us into bad directions, women. It's been shown for a very long time that we have done this.
What you stated, that's one of my
and a lot of us, like when she was saying the danger.
Go ahead, Zuri.
Oh, go ahead. No, you can go ahead. It's just breaking.
What you said there, for me, that's one of my podium speeches. I've said it. I've said it before. That is where, especially particular to our community, where the shit hits the fan in relationships. Being a man is not a popularity contest. Being a man means that at times, the people that I love, I'm going to piss off. And you know what? I'm okay with that because I'm doing it for the best interest of the people that I love. And what that requires is your trust. As a therapist, I understand through historical reasons that the women in our community have the least amount of trust for the men in their community, because most women in our community have not grown up with the experience of Missouri, where they understand how men are, and they've been acclimated to the full nature of a man, the full nature of a man. So when Zuri said that, that really resonated with me, because the issue, it's okay when everybody gets their way, but the real criteria of a healthy relationship and the quality of that male-female relationship is when it doesn't go your way. Who's going to run it? Which way are you going to go? So I didn't mean to kind of go off on that side, but I just, when you said that, Zuri, that really stuck to me there. So I'm sorry for going on that little, personal tirade there, but that's crucial because and I've said this before, there's a famous cliche, let a man be a man. And me and Penny have discussed this. If you're a man, you don't require anyone to let you be a man. If you require someone letting you be a man, then that means you are requesting your nuts back. You know what I mean?
True.
Here, baby, take your testicles. You can be a man for the next 2 hours. No, that's not how this is going down. There can only be, in the house, there can only be one dick. That's it. That doesn't mean it's better, higher, or lower. That means that this is the role that I play. And I need you for the role that you play. But now when you start trying to play my role, we got a problem. All right, so yeah, I kind of went there. Sorry, y'all.
No, you're good, George.
Yeah, I went there. All right, so look, we got to wrap this up. This has been China, Zuri. Oh my God, Ira, and Penny, you know how to do it all the time. You know how to do it. Okay, so we're gonna end this show. It's supposed to be a part 3. It's supposed to really be the end, but I don't know if we just kind of open it up. We got the concept of a sigma. My connect is like, she's like ready to go at Ira. I was like, I'm cool. I'm good with what I got, because I'm gonna sigma beta gamma your butt right on out of here. Ira, he got whatever you need. Ira got you. So my connect, we're gonna have to come back on this. But so 30 seconds, we're gonna end this episode. But 30 seconds to each person. And I want you to leave us with which type of alpha male do we need for our community? We've talked about Malcolm, we've talked about Martin Luther, we've talked about Michael, we've talked about Donald Trump, Clarence Thomas, Kanye West. As it pertains to our community, which alpha male do we need? And if you don't feel we need an alpha male, which male do we need? And let's start with, I want to start with Ira, China, Penny, and end with Zuri. So, Ira, which type of male do we need specific to our community to begin to move our community forward in 2022-23?
So I think we need a Martin Luther King. He's a leader. He's a father figure. He steps up. He speaks what's on his mind. But I don't really just think Martin is and I won't go into this today, but I don't think he's fully alpha. I think he's a sigma. Like, I think he knows the roles and he plays them accordingly. So that's why you have different versions of who you think he is, whether he's the beta or whether he's the alpha. So regardless, I think Martin Luther King. Yeah.
Awesome. China.
Honestly, they all serve their purposes. We need, of course, we need the alphas. We need leaders. We need strong Black men in our community. But at the same time, we also have to have this sense of compassion, and so that's why, in my opinion, they all serve its purpose.
Okay, Penny.
Yeah, I won't get into the Martin Malcolm debate because I think that they both serve a particular purpose at a particular time. But I think we need husbands. We need Black husbands. Our community is failing because we don't have families. Communities are only as strong as families. I mean, strong families make strong communities, which make strong nations, and that's what we're missing. We need husbands. We need men leading families. Which strong men leading strong families, which would create strong communities. So we need husbands. We need husbands. It's great to have strong men around, but until our families are in line, which will get our women in line and draw whatever conclusion you want with that statement. But it stands. We need husbands. We need strong Black husbands in this community, leading families to strengthen this community, and it reverberates from there.
All right, thank you, Penny. Zuri, what do we need? You tell us. Let us know.
I think that we need Malcolm X, but I agree by any means necessary, and Penny for husbands and strong Black men. Get the younger and the youth today on the same track, and also to get the women on track and just create a balance. Like I said, I would be Malcolm by any means necessary, especially by what's going on today. To create a balance, and we need to learn how to start standing up, and our young men do as well. They can follow in their footsteps and create the families, like Penny said.
Awesome. Okay. Well, this has been good. I think there's merit to everybody's perspectives. I am kind of like I said, I come from a perspective of a facilitator. I try to stay away from labels and ideologies in terms of being governed by them. But this panel here, I think, reflects the type of mental quality we need, female or male, to begin to contribute in a healthy way towards moving our community forward. Whether you identify as a beta, alpha, sigma, I think the larger identity is male. The larger identity is male and female. And both of those roles are equally as powerful and equally as important. However, they're only half as powerful by themselves. Any of those styles that you adhere to, the connection of the female-male loop is what brings its power, is what brings its energy. So while we're trying to figure out between alpha and beta, just remember, you're only operating at half power without your female equivalent or your male equivalent. So on that, it's been great. China, Zuri, you both are as powerful as you are beautiful. You have really graced our presence.
Thank you.
Yes, and I mean that sincerely. Not just from your physical attractiveness, but the way that you think, the way that you speak. Because clearly, you both are very physically attractive, but the way that you speak and think, and how you have conducted yourselves with 3 men on the panel, I much respect. Much respect. Very classy. Yeah. And fellas, Ira, I appreciate your unique perspective. I hope to get you back on more shows. Penny, you know I love you, dog. Where'd you fly in from, Penny? Where'd you fly in from, bro?
I was off today.
Okay.
I was off today.
All right. Okay. Yep. So hey, this has been a great show. So for you watchers, and by the way, let me not, I don't want to be remiss. My Connect, thank you for your contribution. Invisigo, I see you back, bro. I see you back. And we catch us next week, man. We've been a little bit out of the mix. But hey, we appreciate you. Invisigo says, well said. All I came in late tonight, but I'll catch the video when it's available. So Invisigo, do me a favor, man. When you watch this show, get in on the comments, because we read the comments and we'll start communicating in the comment section. And I want all the panel. Invisigo is very heavy, y'all. So follow this show on YouTube and mix it up with Invisigo and My Connect in the comment section. So anyway, have a great week. And until the next time we meet, we'll see you in the black space.